Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everybody joining us, depending on where in the world you're at today. I'm Scott Lecker, co-chair of the technical committee for the U.S. chapter of Building Smart, and I will be doing the introduction for today's webinar, openBIM in Action for Transportation, practical demonstrations from solutions providers. So this webinar today is a continuation of a series that we've been doing throughout the year, um, offering a chance for various solution providers to demonstrate their tools and demonstrate these open BIM practices in actual usage. So the background today, from the user perspective, this is going to be focused on the use of open BIM data during construction. So the user perspective is a general contractor that needs to be able to view and search a model so that they can quickly find the information that they need so that they can construct the bridge correctly. There were the same set of data for three bridges that was provided to all of the solutions providers. And these are listed here. These are some pilot projects that are utilizing the national data standards from the Pooled Fund TPF 5372, BIM for Bridges and Structures Phase 1. You can see that we have two bridges. Two of the examples data sets are from Pennsylvania DOT and one from Iowa DOT. And we also have a mix in terms of number of spans and superstructure types between pre-stressed concrete and steel plate girder. Um, we had provided all of the solution providers that are doing these demonstrations sort of a list of ground rules. And our presenter today will go over those, so I won't duplicate that. Um, and then just the sort of the last ground rule I'll reiterate before I step aside is that we do want to keep the focus on the overall script, the items that we had asked for, and maybe steer clear of general marketing content. So with that, I will go ahead and step aside and let uh, Kerry let you introduce yourself and take it away.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much. Can you hear me all right?
Mhm. Very good.
Good day, everyone. My name is Kerry Newbanks. I am a manager for solution engineering here at Bentley Systems. I've been in the civil industry for about 25 plus years. I spent most of my time early on in my career on the design for consulting firms working on roadway, bridge design. I also dabbled in some construction. When I joined the Bentley team, I moved into more of the construction software. And for the last 6 years, I've been working for Bentley and trying to help organizations utilize our software and maximize the efficiencies of our software to help meet their business objectives and goals. So today I'm going to give you a kind of a workflow demonstration on how a contractor can use IFC data in our products. And so we'll start off with just a little sharing of my screen, and we'll get this going here right now. My slides show up. We're not going to spend much time in my um, presentation here. I've got live demonstrations set up. I did want to cover a couple quick things, show you a couple quick videos, and then we'll move on to the live portion. So again, welcome to today's openBIM in Action for Transportation demonstration. The things I'm going to be covering today from a contractor point of view is how do contractors access and interrogate the model in the field. We're going to look at how the contractor can collaborate and resolve issues using this model from IFC data. And then the third thing that we're going to be taking a looking at is leveraging the model data for costing and progress tracking. So those are the three big points or big bullet points that I'm going to be working on today. For the requirements that Scott mentioned at the beginning, this is just kind of some of the requirements I'll be going through. The first two items there, not a requirement, but I kind of wanted to give a little background on how the IFC properties are put and added on to the elements. So I just got a couple quick videos, and then we'll dive into the actual session requirements, which is the IFC model viewer, advanced viewing. We'll be looking at how we take measurements in the model. We'll be taking a look at some of the validation and analysis tools. Then we'll move on to more of kind of field workflows, where we'll take a look at adding comments and notes to the elements or track comment resolution, understanding and displaying the stationing and offsets, quantity takeoffs, cloud-based workflows from your mobile devices, and we'll take a look at the interface and how the ease of use is for non-BIM CAD users. And then lastly, looking at support for the inspectors and tracking project progress on the project. Okay, and as I go through the presentation, I'll try to keep tabs on where we're at in these requirements and announce that. So I'll be saying here we're at number 2 or number 3 or number 4. So if you're trying to keep track of where I'm at in the presentation, I'll try to help you along with that. Excuse me. In this first video, we're in openRoads Designer, and we're just kind of looking at how we use the Python editor and scripting to add the IFC components, or excuse me, the properties to the components within the models. So it's pretty straightforward, where we have our mapping spreadsheet. We have our source IFC file. We're just going to go through and scan the file and all the components within the file, and then give us a chance to copy, move, and delete the property sets and properties based on those IFC entities. From there, we can go ahead and export all of this data and this design out of openRoads Designer and into an IFC format. So that just kind of gives you a little preview of how easy it is now within openRoads to apply these different IFC properties and entities to the data set. And if we skip on to the next video, similarly, we can start adding spatial context to the components or the IFC properties as well. So let's go ahead and play this short video. So IFC may show a flat spatial containment and hierarchy. We have another tool that we've created using Python scripting in order to kind of create a similar tool. But in this one, we're going to add our source IFC data, our mapping spreadsheet, and this is going to give us the ability to look through all of the different components within the openRoads Designer design, and then we can clean up and delete any non-geometrical objects that aren't needed or wanted. Again, we're just cleaning all of this up, so we're going to ship this off to the contractor so he doesn't have to deal with some of the design nonsense that gets added into the file from the software. And it's not necessary for him to actually build. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump out of that PowerPoint, and we'll get into the live portion. So get my Google up, and we'll pull over the Bentley Infrastructure Cloud. Oops, sorry, get that over here. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera at this time, so I'm not eating up my own bandwidth with trying to share and show video at the same time. In Bentley Infrastructure Cloud, we create these projects, and we are going to consume the IFC data. So we create these models. And I'll just go through and show you how this is done in this case, what I did is I grabbed some openRoads data that was added into, and in this case, we're using the PennDOT's SR6 bridge is the IFC data. And then in order to show some of these different tools inside of the Bentley Infrastructure Cloud, I had to add some different roads and components that are not really part of the IFC data. They're just there to help me facilitate showing you how a contractor can use the tools in order to interrogate the model. Okay. We will close that and get out of that. So we got a couple of, this is the existing terrain. This is the IFC bridge. And then we have here's just a road that I've added into the model. So once we get into the model itself, we're looking at how do we interrogate on this model. So we're looking at the viewer itself. So in this case, you can see that I have the terrain model that was added, just this ORD existing terrain. Again, we have a simplified tree structure. Each one of these files that I connected into our environment are separated out where I can easily turn those on and off. We zoom into the bridge a little bit. I got a nice easy cube to rotate or I actually have rotate tools that I can select on elements and pick a point to rotate about. Or I can use the cube, and it's got snap points. So if I just want to go to a top view, I can go directly to a top view. Or if I select a corner, it'll kind of give me that isometric view. Zooming just with my scroll wheel on my mouse. And you can kind of see this is the roadway that I added just to add some flavor to the model, but we're going to be spending most of the time with the bridge here. All right. So section views, we can, and we are number 2 here, just showing you that, excuse me, number 3, showing you some of the advanced capabilities of viewing. We have several different section view tools for plane, element, range, and shape. So we can cut a plane anywhere across and section this tool. Oops. It was working fine yesterday when I was doing this. There we go. Okay. And so this way you can see I did a horizontal plane, and again, I can just drag that up and down and look at the different sections as I need to. Clear that up. We got, you can hide those handles if they're in your way. Once, excuse me, once you get finished with using that section view tool, you can just clear the section and everything will be cleared off and return back to your normal view. Along with this section view tool, we also have the ability to create save views. And so you can see I've created a number of different save views here. So one of the most interesting ones that we can go ahead and create is kind of a 3D view. Actually view the plan view of the project, the profile view of the roadway, as well as a cross section that I've cut across that bridge and the roadway below it. So you can kind of get a sense of, you know, if there's important sections that I want to be aware of, or I want to make sure that I go back to over and over and create a save view. I don't have to stay on the save view. I can navigate away from it, you know, and just take a look at the road if I'm interested in the road. If I want to cut a cross section across that bridge, I can cut a cross section across the bridge as well. And then again, so I can look at the different features of whatever components of the bridge or the roadway that I want to take a look at. Also, you'll notice that as I move from view to view, you get an indicator of where you're at. I have the roadway profile, the roadway profile up. So you can see that as I move across the profile, of that roadway, you can move across the roadway, or vice versa. That as I move along the roadway horizontal alignment, I get an indicator where I'm at vertically in the profile as well. All right. Once you're finished up with that view, you can always come back to this view. I'm just going to delete out the profile and cross-section view for right now. All right, let's take a couple measurements here then. So measurements are pretty straightforward. Let's go into, let's take a look at some of the abutments. Let's do the side view. So again, I've just created some saved views of one of the abutments. Measurement tools, we have distance, area, location, radius, angle, and perpendicular distance. So if we just do a straight line distance, you get some snap point indicators when you know you're on a corner, and then that measurement becomes, or doesn't become permanent, it just stays there until you clear it off. So you can take multiple measurements of your objects and you can start taking a look at the differences between some of the measurements here. The measurements do recorded here in this window, so you can see each one of the measurements that I start. You can see the distance, the runs, the rise, any slope to it, and the starting and ending coordinates of where I snap to. I also at the top get a cumulative distance. So if you want to do like a perimeter, excuse me, you can do a perimeter of as many measurements as you need to. It'll give you that cumulative total distance and the runs as well. So let me go ahead and put that back there. As far as areas are concerned, it's looking for closed shapes, or you can snap to 4 corners or 5 corners, or as many corners as you need to. Oops. Oops, and I got a bad snap point, so let me go ahead and clear that off and redo the area tool. And once you get to your last corner point, oops, I didn't get to the last corner point. Messed that up. It does give you a readout. In this case, the shape is too small to have an actual bubble inside of it, so it will just read out in the measurement tool itself, or the measurement readout. Excuse me. Okay. If you want to clear the measurements, there's a couple clear measurements, or you can delete all of the measurements as we go through there. All right. Simple validation and analysis tools. And so number 5. So at its basics, let me go back to our roadway view. So let me clear my filter off. We'll go back to the roadway. And again, I don't want to work with the profile or the cross section right now. I'm just going to close those. So the basic tools that we have available, profile, you've already seen the profile, perpendicular cross section, 2-point cross section, station offsets allow you to select an alignment. So you can identify it by selecting on the line itself, or you can use the drop down here. And then you just start selecting on the, between points or at a point. You got a couple different items there. And then of course the software wants to be a little wonky on me today. All right, this is fun. All right, let me go ahead and back out and we will reset. Fun part of doing live demonstrations. All right, so let's just select the alignment. There we go. And then I just select a point anywhere, again, because I can do at a point, I can do between points. I can do it at a rotated view if I needed to. So where is this pile at? So you can start taking a look at the different station values. So where I data pointed from the top view along the roadway, or where I selected on the actual pile itself, you can see I get the actual station and offset values from that alignment, horizontal alignment of the roadway. Again, you can clear the last measurement, or you can clear all measurements. So that's how you can work with the station and offset tool. All right, that gives you measurement tools and station and offset tools, which are very valuable for contractors themselves. Let's go and take a look at what I have over here, which is grouping, because interrogating a model is only just working with the horizontal alignment and that center line. You're working with all of the data. And so there's a number of things that we want to take a look at where, first off, just the basic properties. I neglected to show you the properties earlier. And so let's go ahead and take a look at those now. So what properties come over when I connect this IFC data into my environment here? I get all of these IFC attributes. I get the information from the design application itself. The design length, the haunch thickness, widths, general properties. Again, this was the PennDOT deck information, the haunch information, PennDOT pay item information. All that source information is coming directly from that design application. And it's there and available. So again, providing that quick access to information for the contractor when he's looking for, what is the thickness of this slab. He doesn't actually have to take a measurement because we have the ability to record that information as part of the design information in the properties of the design applications, and then that information and that data will come across into the iModel. Some other things that we can take a look at, with the IFC data, if we start taking a look at some of these the beam information. Here I've got the web, or the plate for the web of this beam, and you get document links, so where it's coming from, so you can go back to information, the girder web properties. All that information is again coming from what we put on in the design application on this component, and then we bring it across into the Bentley Infrastructure Cloud environment. All right. Some of the other tools, we have some additional tools for dedicated to civil. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. Some of these are more design flavored tools where you have, for geometry validation. I can compare my horizontal alignment to standards, AASHTO standards. So to verify that my sight distances and my curves, my horizontal curves, my vertical curves meet the standards for the design speed. Same thing with super elevation. Vertical clearance is a nice tool, especially when you're working between a road and bridge. You can take a look at, I need to find what is the vertical clearance here between these two elements. Let me create a new bridge and road. You can set a minimum, and then you can set your travelway elements. And set your overhead elements. And then once you run it, it's going to check and give you a nice display on minimum clearance. And as you can see, I had a 16-foot minimum. It's not being met. I'm just shy of that 16-foot. Some other tools that the contractor would probably find more valuable, corridor analysis. This is a really nice tool because what it's going to do is going to provide the contractor with slopes, thicknesses, elevation. And we're just going to do just a quick run. So, oops, too quick a run. So then we just tell it the surfaces that we're working with, any secondary services, and then we're just going to run it. So what it provides you with here is kind of like a top view of what's going on with the roadway. So it gives you widths, it gives you the stations. In this case, it's showing me super elevation transition points. You can turn on, depths. It'll display the depths at those points, slopes as well, and like I said, elevations. And what you can do then as a contractor, you can start looking at your different tie points and elevation points and depth points and see, and especially for super elevation, you can see where those particular transition points are. You can then start navigating and viewing this information as you go along that roadway. And you can jump to different points. So you always have that ability to, and you can turn on multiple things and turn off other things so they're not in the way. So you always have that interrogation of the roadway and in the corridor analysis tool. Okay. All right. Other things that we can use to help us interrogate our model. So let's go ahead and get out of the corridor analysis. And we want to get into, we have the civil reporting. And I'm going to go back into the main view and out of my civil front stage. So this is what I wanted to show you. So another way that we can utilize those IFC properties within the model itself is through grouping. And this is a great tool where I can use this tool to search the model for particular properties that are contained within the model itself. I can then start to look at them and isolating. So I just did the beam bearings, and I can turn those off and turn on the curb and gutter for the roadway. And it's a great way to help organize the information. So the substructure piles, and again, you can look at the structures themselves in kind of an emphasis mode, or you can completely isolate those. The really nice thing about these is that these are created and then saved in the project. So it's pretty straightforward that when you start looking at some of these different classes, and you can just type in, let's go look at some of my IFC properties. What am I trying to find here? Let's do a footing for the bridge. So let's do IFC footing. Okay, you can put in multiple qualifiers. Oops, like that. And we broke it. So perfect. There we go. Didn't like my footing. So, IFC and footing. And then you can tell it to visualize. Again, I haven't saved it yet, so you can double check and make sure that it's actually finding the right components that your search criteria is for. And in this case, that's why it blew up. I don't have any elements that are qualified as a footing apparently that I can see. Let me turn on. Let me try something else here. Let me try something different. We'll exit out of that one and try the other one. Let's see. Footing strip, maybe. Well, you know what? Let's do this the easy way. All right. So let's take a look at the properties of this footing that I'm trying to set up a group for. So abutment pile cap. Okay, so it's not a footing, it's pile cap. That's my bad. So then when you find the property that you want to it wasn't pile, it was pile cap. No options found. Interesting. All right, it's telling me it's an abutment pile cap. That is the user label. That is an IFC footing. All right. Well, I'm not going to waste a bunch of time trying to make something work that is not cooperating because it's not recognizing the correct properties, or I should say it's user error. It's my error. I am not selecting the right properties to put this together. But again, that's how we have these, again, different tools to help the contractors, to help the supervisors, the project managers on projects be able to interrogate and work with this data. All right, so the next thing I want to show really quickly, because I am taking a whole lot of time here, is the ability to work with some forms and track data using the model itself. So how we handle that inside of Infrastructure Cloud is what we call with these forms here. So as you can see, I created an issue. All the properties I put in tie slope at the abutment face. I was in the model at the time, and I tagged the location where I saw this issue. I could add a map location as well. If there were other related forms, in this case, I put in the DGN that the tie slope came from. You can add comments again to let users on the under that have sent this to you know that you're taking a look at it, that there are things going on with this, any attachments. In this case, there is a markup. Model markup tools are available inside of Infrastructure Cloud. So it's showing me where the pin location, but I could have added text, arrows, clouds, just to help highlight that issue that we're having with this area. The really nice thing about it is the tracking. We keep a full audit trail of all the different actions that have been performed with this form. And again, this is sent to an individual, or a role on the project. So let me show you how that works here. So in this case, it was assigned to me. So when the inspector or the project manager supervisor on the project found this issue, they filled out this form and then they assigned it to me. So they can alert me to this issue and I can go ahead and start taking the appropriate measures to this. And the other thing that we can do, let me go to the other form that I created. So exit out of that one. Okay. And we open this form. Oops, this is the wrong form. Sorry, let me get out of that. And we go to, I did an RFI, this one. Yep, okay. So in this form here, this RFI form, we got a retaining wall and I made up that the recorded high water level is lower than the wall height on the bridge. I assigned it to myself, but I also shared it with a role on the project of structural. So any other individual on the project that has the same role assignment as a structural, say, engineer, would receive a notification of this form, of this issue, of this RFI in this case, so they can start taking a look at it in case that I was out of the office or on vacation or took a sick day or whatever the case may be, and I couldn't get to this issue right away. Someone else would be alerted to it and could start taking a look at it. So again, that provides contractors with a little ease of mind that someone is going to be taking a look at this in an expedient matter. Okay, let's move on. That was number 6, and we did. Let's take a look at Synchro Modeler really quick. This is our tool, same project. I'm accessing the same model information. All the model information is stored in the cloud. So the different product here called Synchro Modeler that I use for quantity takeoff is accessing the same model that we were just viewing with the web browser. And so this is what we use for quantity takeoff. And you can see I've got a couple of things already taken care of here or assigned. And so this is really giving me just a readout of the quantities and reading the quantities directly from those model components. How do we use the IFC properties in this? And this is a really where I'm going to show you some things that I've done already previously, is that I've created this assigned by query where I can actually search the model and the model properties by IFC class, IFC piles. We have 2 different types of piles. One of these in the middle there is board, and then the ones on the ends under the abutment are driven. So I have 2 classifications, and so I just want to kind of show you how this works. So I've defined the class, and then I've also added an additional query item in order to further refine my search results. So if I hit my validate here, you'll notice that I'm now going to assign a cost code to these pile elements. So let me go back and we can just do it all at once. All right. So you see the green deck up here, that's already been assigned. It's telling me that it's all good. Okay, all my piles were assigned. They turned to the color red. So I have my driven piles and I have my auger cast piles. I didn't have necessarily a board category in this Costco deck, but it's something that's very configurable. I can add it in without any issues. So in this case, we've got, oh, let me go back directly to the assignments themselves. What's going on is that the length wasn't defined. In this case, it's not pulling a length from those elements. So I can take a measurement. I can select a predefined property, which in this case, the piles do have a property. And then I can go ahead and link that length to this step or all steps. If I go ahead and set, you can see that the piles on the end, the driven piles, are all green now, meaning that they are properly being recorded from the map quantity. So with the board ones, same thing. We'll just do the drilled shaft length. We'll hit OK, and then they all turn green. So now you'll see in my summary, I get a total length for the driven piles, the total length for the auger cast piles or the board piles. And then lastly, I can once I get everything assigned with my cost codes, I can quickly export this out to an Excel file where contractors can then take that Excel file and bring it into their estimating software. Okay. All right, we got a few minutes left, and I'm going to show you how we use this in the field. So let me go ahead and share. I'll stop sharing this screen, and I will share my mobile device. Okay, so in our mobile device, it works on Android or iOS. You can see I have a number of different projects here. We'll just go to, so that's my favorite projects. This is our openBIM IFC demonstration. Same project that I was in on the web, same project I had open in our Synchro Modeler, our quantity takeoff tools. And then we got the forms. It's all connected. It's all one single source of truth. I have access to my documents, and then we also have the models. Our mobile app works online and offline. So in the case where you're going to have a weak signal connection to Wi-Fi, to cellular network, you can work in an offline mode. The model is downloaded. You can see that it loads pretty quick. I'm using my fingers to navigate here, zoom in, zoom out. I can select elements. I can read their properties. I can see all of those IFC attributes, you know, the dimensions, all that information that I saw in the mobile, or excuse me, in the web. I have access to in the mobile device as well. Tools. Again, I have distance tools, location, area, radius, angles, station and offset, cross-section tools, profile tools. So you can just go and select the profile. It pops up fairly quickly for the roadway. I have different displays. You can turn on and off the map. You have different render modes. In this case, I have it locked to the top view, which is kind of handy for contractors. They're not used to working in a 3D environment. So now we can get this out of the way. We can change the rotation. Again, I have the model tree, so I can turn on and off the different parts of the model. Let me deselect that deck. I can create forms directly from here. So if I have an issue that I need to address and send off to the office personnel, I can go ahead and do that. I put my window right in the way there. So then it pulls up, you know, just add your subject. You can use the speech to text features. I'm not going to create this form. I'm just going to show you how it's done because we are running out of time. And I do want to leave some time for questions if we do have time, Scott, that is. Sorry, I didn't get to quite to all of the requirements and get to the last two, which were the project progress tracking. So